Sergeant Calla Briggs had always been a survivor. She had fought in wars across different worlds. She had trained in the hardest places humans could live. But nothing had prepared her for Rexus 9. Rexus 9 was known as a death world, a planet where everything was deadly. The air was too thin. The water was poison. The weather could peel the skin off your bones. And the creatures? They didn't run from you. They hunted you. Even machines couldn't last long here. The Federation had marked it Red Zone, which meant no one was supposed to land there. But war doesn't care about warnings. Calla had been on a mission with her unit. They were fighting a surprise attack from a rogue alien fleet on the edge of the galaxy. Her ship got hit in the middle of the fight. Fire spread fast. She only had seconds to reach an escape pod. She launched into space, the ship exploding behind her. She didn't know where she was falling until the pod started shaking, burning as it hit the atmosphere of Rexus 9. The landing was hard. The pod slammed into the rocky ground. The force knocked her out cold. When she woke up, her helmet was cracked, her armor damaged, and her body sore. She climbed out of the pod. The sky above was red and black, filled with thick clouds that moved like boiling smoke. Lightning flashed across the sky, not yellow but blue and silent. The ground was covered in sharp, black rocks and glowing fungus. She had landed in a crater. Steam hissed from cracks in the earth. Her first thoughts were simple. Where am I? Am I alone? Is anyone alive? She checked her unit. Dead. The antenna was melted. She only had 3 days' worth of rations, half a water filter, and one working weapon, her combat knife. That's when she heard it, a low sound in the distance. A whispering, not like wind but like voices. She spun around, pulling her blade, but saw nothing. The rocks were still. The wind didn't blow. But something was out there. She climbed out of the crater, trying to get a better view. She found herself in a vast canyon. Black cliffs rose up on both sides. Strange trees grew sideways, their branches like fingers. Insects the size of her hand crawled across the ground but scattered as soon as she moved. It felt like the planet itself was watching her. She kept moving, following the sun, if you could call it that. It was a pale white light that didn't warm anything. Her goal was to reach higher ground. Maybe she could find a signal, a cave, anything. But by nightfall, the real danger started. The sky turned green. The air grew cold, too cold. Her armor hissed as the temperature dropped fast. Then came the sounds. Clicking, growling, scraping against rock. Calla lit a flare. The red light danced across the rocks and then she saw them. Eyes. Dozens. Watching. Thin shapes moved in the dark. Tall. Pale. Not animals. Not people. Something in between. Their arms were long, their heads smooth, no faces, just skin that shimmered like water. They didn't run. They didn't charge. They just followed. Calla didn't sleep that night. She found a small ledge in the canyon wall and stayed awake with her back against the stone, her knife in hand. The creatures stayed below her, not climbing. Just watching. By morning, they were gone. She thought she was safe. Until her suit picked up a strange signal. At first, she thought it was just static, but the noise was repeating. Faint, broken, but clear enough to hear, "Help us. Please help." It wasn't human. The voice was higher. The words were shaky, but it was speaking Galactic Common, the language all spacefaring races used. Calla froze. No one was supposed to be here. No one human. At least. She followed the signal, using her suit's scanner. It led her deeper into a canyon where the rocks began to change color from black to a deep green. The air tasted worse here, like burnt metal. She covered her mouth with her scarf. That's when she found something strange, an old metal plate sticking out of the ground. She pushed aside some rocks and saw a door. A hatch. It had alien writing across it, scratched deep into the metal. She didn't recognize the language, but it didn't look friendly. Still, it was the only shelter she'd seen. She pulled the handle, and the door creaked open. Inside was a tunnel, cold, dark. Quiet, but the signal was stronger now. She stepped inside, her boots echoing. Then the voice changed. It screamed. Not a warning, not a call for help. A scream of something that had seen too much and was now gone. And that scream wasn't coming through her radio anymore. It was coming from right behind her. Kala spun around fast. Her knife was ready, but there was nothing there. Just the tunnel behind her. Empty, cold, silent. But she knew what she had heard. The scream was real. It had echoed off the walls. It had felt close, like something breathing on her neck. She stepped back and held her breath, listening. No footsteps, no growls, just the soft hum of her suit. Her heart pounded in her chest. Still, she moved forward, deeper into the tunnel. She didn't have a choice. Outside, the death world was full of monsters. Inside, at least she had walls. The tunnel led her into a larger room. It was an old alien bunker. The walls were metal but rusted. Some lights blinked weakly. Others were smashed. She stepped over broken crates and bones. Yes, bones. Not human ones. These were longer, thinner, alien. She looked around with her flashlight. There was writing all over the walls. Not written with paint or ink, but scratched in with claws. Sharp, deep, and angry. She didn't know what it meant. But something bad had happened here. At the far end of the room, a console still glowed. Somehow, after all this time, it still had power. She walked up to it. Her suit connected to it automatically. The translation AI kicked in. The screen blinked and showed a message in broken English. We are the last of the Trell. We came to tame this world. We were wrong. She tapped through more files. They were old logs. Records from the alien team who had landed here long ago. The Trell had been a smart, strong race. Their ships could terraform whole planets. They thought Rexus 9 could be changed too. They brought machines, weapons, and soldiers. It took only 5 days before their base was destroyed. Log after log told the same story. Something on the planet hunted them. Something they couldn't see, couldn't stop, and couldn't escape. They called it the Endless. One log showed a map. Red dots marked their last known camps. All destroyed. One log showed a picture. A blurry figure in the dark. Pale, tall, no face, and long arms. Just like the ones that watched Kala at night. Then she found the last message. It was a warning. If you hear this, they are already inside your mind. Kala stepped back. From the screen, breathing hard, she looked around the bunker. It felt like something was watching her again. She turned off her flashlight and crouched behind a crate. She stayed there listening. The sound came back. Not a scream this time. Voice. It was soft, like someone far away. And it was saying her name. Kala. Her eyes went wide. That was impossible. No one else was here. And the voice? It wasn't random. It was her mother's voice. Kala, come home. Her mother had died years ago. Kala bit her lip, trying not to panic. She had been trained for strange things. Alien tricks. But nothing prepared her for this. The voice kept talking, telling her she was tired, that she should sleep, that no one was coming, that she would die here alone. Then, just as suddenly, the voice stopped. The screen lit up again with new words. Incoming transmission, human fleet command. She stared at the screen, shocked. Sergeant Kala Briggs, we received your signal. We are en route. Hold position. Repeat, hold position, Kala gasped. She didn't send the signal. She didn't even know how. It must have been the old alien signal the fleet had picked up. They thought she was calling for help, but she didn't care help was coming. Her knees felt weak. She almost laughed. For the first time since crashing, she had hope. But then, another voice came through the console. Not human, not Trell. Something else. You are too late. They followed the call. They always do. And then the lights flickered. The walls began to shake. Kala turned to run, but the metal floor cracked behind her, and a long black arm reached up through the hole. It wasn't solid. It was like smoke and oil and glass all at once, and it was pulling itself up. Kala did not wait. The black arm was still rising from the floor, reaching toward her. She grabbed her blade and ran back through the tunnel. Her boots slammed against the metal floor as the wall shook behind her. The lights above flickered. Fast, like they were scared too. She reached the hatch and forced it open. Outside, the sky was darker than before. Thick clouds rolled across the mountains. Green lightning flashed above the cliffs. She slid down the rocks and ran across the canyon floor. But the thing was chasing her. It didn't move like a person or animal. It didn't run. It slid and crawled like liquid shadow. Its shape changed every second, tall, short, wide, thin. Sometimes it looked like her. Sometimes it looked like nothing at all. She ran into a forest filled with twisted trees. The branches curved like claws. Strange red vines hung from them, pulsing like they were alive. The ground hissed under her feet. Small acid pools and glowing bugs scattered as she passed. Then she saw light ahead. She slowed down and raised her blade, thinking it was more danger. But what she saw was a cave entrance and someone inside, holding a weak blue light. Not human. 3 aliens stood there. Thin, pale, and weak-looking. Their skin was cracked, their clothes torn. They stared at her with wide yellow eyes, afraid but also surprised. "You're real?" one asked in a shaky voice. "I could say the same," Kala said, lowering her. Blade. The tallest one stepped forward. "We are Trell. We survived here for many cycles. We heard the signal, the same as you." Kala looked behind her. The shadow thing was gone for now. "Did you send it?" she asked. They shook their heads. "No, the signal is old. We think the planet uses it to lure others here." Kala's stomach dropped. "You mean it's a trap?" The shortest one nodded. "We lost everything. Our ship, our people. The Endless, they are not just monsters. They are the planet itself." Kala followed them inside. The cave was dark but warm. There was a small fire made with glowing stones. She sat down, her body shaking from cold and fear. The oldest Trell spoke again. "The Endless don't just kill, they copy. They learn from your thoughts, your memories, your pain." "They spoke in my mother's voice," Kala said quietly. "They did that to us too," the old one said. "They used the faces of our families, our commanders, even our own voices. They made us lose our minds. We fought shadows. We shot each other. That's how they win. They make you doubt everything." Kala looked at the Trell. They were afraid but still alive. "Like her. You lasted this long," she said. "That means we can beat them." The Trell didn't look hopeful. The younger one whispered, "We've seen your kind before. Other humans. Tough soldiers. None lasted more than a day." Kala stood up. "Well, I'm not like them." Just then the cave grew silent. Even. The fire seemed to shrink. Kala felt the cold crawl up her spine again. She turned around and saw the youngest Trell staring at the far wall, shaking. "What's wrong?" she asked. He pointed, terrified. "My mother. She's here." Kala froze. The older Trell gasped. "That's not possible. She died 2 weeks ago." But they all saw her. A figure stood near the rocks, tall, thin, smiling. Kala stepped forward slowly. "Don't get close," the old one warned. "They look perfect, but they're not real." The younger one didn't listen. He dropped his weapon and ran forward. "Wait!" Kala shouted. Too late. The moment he touched her, the figure changed. Its face melted. Its skin turned black and glassy. It wrapped around him like smoke. He screamed as he vanished into its body. Kala pulled out her plasma flare and threw it. The flare exploded in a flash of white-blue light. The creature shrieked and vanished, leaving nothing behind. No boy, no mother. Just silence. The cave shook. The old troll dropped to his knees. He's gone, he's gone. Kala gritted her teeth and picked up the fallen weapon. She stared at the smoke as it drifted out of the cave. They're not playing games anymore, she said. They know I've made contact. Contact? The old one asked. Kala nodded. The fleet heard the signal. They think I sent it. They're coming. The troll looked shocked. They'll never make it. This world eats ships. It eats minds. They'll be taken the moment they land. Kala looked up at the dark cave ceiling. Not if I stop them first. Kala didn't sleep that night. She sat by the fire, holding her blade, watching the cave entrance. The troll stayed silent, scared. The loss of their young friend had left a heavy shadow over all of them. But Kala's mind was focused. She knew what had to be done. Endless had a trick pretending to be someone you loved, someone you missed. But now she understood. They needed your thoughts, your pain. They read your memories. They used your fear against you. And if her memories were a weapon, then she would turn them into a trap. The fleet was still coming. They had picked up the signal and were already on the way. Kala had no way to stop them. Unless she got to the signal source first. The real one. The thing sending the fake call for help. At dawn, she stood and checked her gear. Her blade, a flare, 2 small energy grenades, and a short-range beacon. She looked at the troll. You stay here. If I don't come back, run. The old one nodded. You will not come back. Kala just smiled. Want to bet? She stepped out into the morning light. The sky was still a sickly red-green. The air buzzed with quiet whispers. She ignored them. She walked for miles, past strange trees and deep cracks in the earth. Twice she saw the shadows watching her. They didn't follow. They were waiting. At the top of a cliff, she found what she was looking for, a tall black spire made of metal and rock. It pulsed with blue light. Vines wrapped around it. Small creatures hissed and ran away when she got close. This was it, the signal tower. It wasn't made by the troll. It was older. Much older. Maybe even part of the planet itself. As she moved closer, she felt a pressure inside her head, like someone whispering her name over and over. Kala, Kala. But she pushed through. She climbed the side of the tower and reached a strange device at the top, half machine, half alive. It was humming, glowing, speaking in a voice that didn't stop. Help us. We are lost, save us. She stared at the machine. Enough, she whispered. Then she pulled out a grenade, set the timer, and stuck it into the center of the signal core. She jumped back just as the explosion ripped through the top of the spire. The light died. The whispers stopped. The tower cracked and began to fall. She ran as fast as she could, leaping down the rocks, landing hard and rolling across the ground. Behind her, the spire slammed into the earth with a massive crash. Then the ground began to move. The planet itself roared. Kala looked back and saw something rise from under the earth, something huge. It wasn't one of the shadow creatures. It was all of them, together, connected, wrapped in each other like roots of a black tree. The core of the endless. It opened its many eyes made from stolen faces. Some were human. Some were Trell. One looked like her. Kala grabbed her last grenade, armed it, and ran toward the monster. She didn't think. She just moved. But just before she threw it, something slammed her from behind. She hit the rocks hard. The grenade rolled away. The Endless rose over her, tall and wide and grinning. "You are alone," it whispered. "No one is coming." Then a voice broke through the air. "This is Admiral Harper of the human fleet. Stand down or be destroyed." Kalla's eyes went wide. The sky above split open. A ship-a-reel massive ship burst through the clouds. Its guns aimed at the monster. The Endless screamed. From the ship, fire rained down. Plasma blasts hit the ground around the creature. The rocks melted. The black mass began to burn. The monster turned and ran, trying to melt into the ground again. But this time, it was too slow. Kalla grabbed her beacon and held it high. A shuttle flew down fast and landed nearby. Human soldiers jumped out. One ran to her side. "Sergeant Briggs?" he asked. She nodded, barely able to stand. "You found the source," he said. "We've been tracking it for weeks. You turned it off. You gave us a chance." Kalla looked back at the burning remains of the Endless, still thrashing as fire ate it alive. "I just wanted to survive," she said. He helped her to her feet. "You did more than survive. You won." They brought her aboard the ship. The Trell were rescued too, the survivors. The last few. The fleet destroyed what was left of the tower. The whispers stopped across the planet. The Endless was not gone completely, but it was broken, weak. The Deathworld still held danger, but it could no longer call out for victims. As she sat in the med bay, resting, Kalla looked out the window at the burning sky. She had made it. She had answered the false call. And in doing so, she became the real one. A message to the stars: don't mess with Deathworlders.